Once upon a time, in a quiet suburban neighborhood nestled against the backdrop of a majestic mountain range, there lived a big Persian cat named Mr. Whiskers. With fur as white as freshly fallen snow and eyes as green as emeralds, Mr. Whiskers was a sight to behold. His luxurious coat, meticulously groomed every day, swayed with an air of regal elegance as he sauntered through the perfectly manicured gardens and neatly paved pathways of the neighborhood. Mr. Whiskers lived in a cozy little house that was the envy of all the other cats in the neighborhood. His owner, Mrs. Eleanor, adored him and showered him with love and affection. She was a kind-hearted woman with silver hair and a smile that could melt the coldest of hearts. Mrs. Eleanor's days were spent tending to her garden and reading novels in her quaint, sunlit study, with Mr. Whiskers always by her side. But despite his opulent lifestyle and the love of his owner, Mr. Whiskers felt a certain emptiness deep within his heart. He longed for a true friend, a feline companion with whom he could share his days and nights. He often gazed out of the window, watching the other cats frolicking in the gardens, their laughter and playfulness tugging at his heartstrings. One bright and sunny morning, as Mr. Whiskers was lounging in his favorite sunbeam, he heard a commotion outside. He rushed to the window and peered outside to see what was happening. To his surprise, a group of children had gathered in the garden next door, and they were fawning over a new arrival, a rather plump Persian kitten with fur as grey as the morning mist. The kitten, who introduced herself as Miss Luna, had just moved into the neighborhood with her owner, Mr. Johnson. Unlike Mr. Whisker's perfectly coiffed appearance, Miss Luna's fur was a delightful mess of curls and tangles. Her large, round eyes sparkled with curiosity, and her playful antics made her an instant favorite among the children. Mr. Whiskers watched with a mix of envy and fascination as Miss Luna effortlessly charmed everyone around her. He couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy, but at the same time, he felt an undeniable pull towards the young kitten. He had never seen another Persian cat in the neighborhood, and a deep yearning to connect with her began to grow inside him. Over the next few days, Mr. Whiskers made it a point to position himself by the window whenever Miss Luna was outside. He watched her explore the garden, chase after butterflies, and engage in playful battles with the local birds. He was mesmerized by her spirit and energy, and he couldn't help but smile as he observed her antics. One sunny afternoon, as Mr. Whiskers was daydreaming about Miss Luna, he heard a soft voice behind him. "Hello there, neighbor," the voice purred, startled. Mr. Whiskers turned around to find Miss Luna standing just inside his window, her eyes wide with curiosity. He felt his heart skip a beat as he looked into her bright green eyes. "Hello," Mr. Whiskers stammered. "I'm Mr. Whiskers," Miss Luna smiled warmly. "I'm Miss Luna." I noticed you have been watching me from your window. Mr. Whiskers blushed under his pristine fur. I'm sorry if I was being too obvious. It's just that I have never seen another Persian cat in the neighborhood before. Miss Luna's eyes twinkled. Well, now you have. And I have never met a cat as regal and elegant as you, Mr. Whiskers. Mr. Whiskers felt a warmth spread through him at her compliment. Thank you, Miss Luna. A beautiful friendship blossomed between Mr. Whiskers and Miss Luna. They spent their days sharing stories, chasing sunbeams, and exploring the gardens together. Mr. Whiskers taught Miss Luna the finer points of grooming and elegance, while Miss Luna introduced Mr. Whiskers to the joys of wild play and adventure. Their personalities complemented each other perfectly. Mr. Whiskers was a calm and composed elder, always offering sage advice and a listening ear, while Miss Luna was a spirited and playful youngster, always full of boundless energy and a mischievous sense of humor. They were a match made in feline heaven, as the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months. Their friendship grew deeper. They shared secrets, dreams, and even the occasional catnip treat. Mrs. Eleanor and Mr. Johnson, their respective owners, watched with delight as their cats became inseparable. The two humans struck up a friendship of their own, bonding over their shared love for their feline companions. One crisp autumn evening, as Mr. Whiskers and Miss Luna were lounging on the windowsill, gazing at the stars that twinkled in the night sky, a thought crossed Mr. Whiskers' mind. Miss Luna, he began, I have been thinking about something for a while now. Miss Luna turned her gaze away from the stars to look at him. What is it, Mr. Whiskers? I have had a wonderful time with you. And I cherish our friendship more than anything, Mr. Whiskers said earnestly. But I can't help but wonder, would you consider becoming my family? Would you like to move in with me and Mrs. Eleanor? Miss Luna's eyes widened with surprise and joy. Oh, Mr. Whiskers, I would love nothing more. I have grown so fond of you and your cozy home. It would be a dream come true to be a part of your family. With that, the decision was made, and Mr. Whiskers and Miss Luna became a family. Mrs. Eleanor and Mr. Johnson were delighted at the idea of their beloved cats living under the same roof. They rearranged the house to accommodate their new family member, adding a fluffy bed and a sparkling litter box for Miss Luna. Life couldn't have been better for the two Persian cats. They shared their meals, sunbeams, and secrets, and their days were filled with endless joy and companionship. They were truly two halves of a whole, and their friendship had transformed into a deep and enduring love. As the years passed, Mr. Whiskers and Miss Luna grew older, their fur gray, and their steps a bit slower. But their bond remained as strong as ever. They continued to watch the sunsets from the same windowsill, their tails entwined, and they napped together in a cozy corner of the study, Mrs. Eleanor's soft voice reading stories to them. One winter's night, as the snow fell gently outside, Mr. Whiskers lay beside Miss Luna, his paw resting on hers. He looked into her eyes, filled with love and gratitude. Miss Luna, you have brought so much happiness into my life. I am truly blessed to have you as my friend, my companion, and my family. Miss Luna nuzzled her dear friend and family member. And I, Mr. Whiskers, am equally blessed to have you. Our friendship is the